Good afternoon and welcome to my channel. My name is Joyce and I do all things self-improvement, personal development, self-growth, however you want to call it. And today I want to talk about something that I almost did, but the operative word here being almost. And we know almost does count, doesn't it? Because if it didn't, we wouldn't be anyway. I wanted to say that yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? So there's been a lot of changes around me. And part of those changes have meant that most of us are trying to adjust to a new way of being, a new way of living. And I'm talking about a family setup. And so usually you don't really get to know a person until I think sometimes when they don't need anything from you. And it's so important to watch how they move and how they embed themselves and who they become. Because essentially, like that saying about money doesn't make you, it just reveals who you are. Exactly. That's exactly the situation that happened. And I've been seeing this person in a very new light, confirming really what I already knew. But you kind of just think, oh, maybe that's not the situation. Maybe I'm wrong. And in most cases, I always pray that I'm wrong because I like to think that people are good people. I understand that there's some weird eggs, bad eggs, as it were. And I try not to think so much about that because, I think life is always an opportunity for people to learn and grow. It doesn't mean that I'm blind to what they're doing. Anyway, so a situation arose and I can see already how this person is thinking, right? A very, very manipulative person who is trying to control and center everything about her. And at one point in my case, I started to doubt myself in this week, saying, maybe I'm seeing things a bit differently. Maybe I'm the one that needs to change. Maybe I need to handle and speak to people in a way that accommodates everybody else. And then I realized after a conversation with another friend is that I am playing right into what they wanted me to be doing. And what I ought to be doing is really just setting boundaries. Who's that behind my car and why is he parked there? Oh, it's a Deliveroo. Anyway, yeah, I realized I was actually just playing into the game that they have set up. And that's when I remembered that the message I keep talking about all the time, none of us are immune. None of us are immune to any of the challenges that we go through. And it's actually very refreshing to see that you're able to, or you have been able to create spaces within yourself that allows you to shield yourself. And so following on from that conversation, I just reset myself and reminded myself. And I reminded myself of my boundaries. I reminded myself of my intentions. And I reminded myself of the core of who I am and the values. And that's just a reminder for you too. When when we talk about personal development, a lot of people think, oh, we must have reached, we must have achieved everything we needed to do. No, those situations are sometimes still there. And especially the ones that have been so challenging for you, they will often just rear their ugly head just to see how far you've got with your changes and your development and your growth. And I just wanted to remind people out there that when you have made changes, when you have grown, when you have learned, it doesn't mean that those challenges no longer exist. It just means that they no longer exist in the plane that you knew them from. And therefore, what we've got to do is to remember that these giants and these I wanted to say a different word, but I won't. That these, they're no longer giants because you are now able to handle them, right? So they're grasshoppers. They were giants when you didn't know what you were doing. But these grasshoppers will sometimes try and invade your space. They will try and eat your crop and dismantle the progress of your plants and etc. that you've made. But you have to remind yourself, no, thank you. I am not that person. I have grown from that situation. And here is how I'm going to stand on business and handle it. Sometimes it requires having conversations with again, the people around you. So make sure you surround yourself with the right cohort, with the right people, with the right ammo, so that you don't fall back into the same pit. And also taking that time to reflect on what's going on. You know, yesterday I talked about the conversation around, don't just jump into things. Take your time to think about what's going, you know, what you're going through and what you need to do to make the changes. Because whenever you react quickly, you can lose a lot of momentum in terms of where you've grown and how you've learned. So that's my lesson for today. There will be moments where your old life will try to pull you back to what you have already come out of. Just keep reminding yourself and make sure you're surrounded by people who will remind you of how far you've come and where you are going. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.